Welcome to Syntax. Today we got an episode for you on all of the new news that's happened in the last couple of weeks. As there's been, even though it's summer, it feels like there's been a lot of stuff dropping. You know, some new Node.js features. React's router has React server components. Amazon released a VS Code fork. Claude Code is clamping down on people using it 24/7. Vite overtaking Webpack, and probably 5 or 6 more things related to web development. So buckle on up. We got lots of news for you today. My name is Wes Boss, developer from Canada. With me as always is Scott Tolinsky. How you doing today, Scott?
Doing good. How
Scott,
you doing, man?
You're missing. Can you please snap the last button of your hat down?
That's a negative, Wes. This is a fashion choice.
No, you got. There's one snap that's not snapped.
Leave a comment below if this messes you up. I'm not snapping
full
it.
snappage. Hold on. How many buttons are you doing there? You got 4
Well,
or 5.
it doesn't really matter because the hat's just kind of sitting on the top of my head rather than trying to be fit correctly. Although this hat in particular is really stretched out. This is my beach hat. I'm in beach mode. I got a hula shirt on. I got
my boat shirt on today.
Yeah, I'm extremely tan, and by that I mean this is as tan as I get, and and I got my beach hat on, which I go swimming with this thing. But yeah, I go full clamp down on this bad boy whenever I want to keep it on while I'm riding the waves.
Yeah, you just got back from vacation. Where were you?
Yeah, I was in Maui. Got to be there when the tsunami was going to happen. There was no tsunami. It did not do anything, but it was actually kind of very scary. I mean, being on an island and getting that, like, we first heard it on the radio and they were like,
yeah,
oh, there's an earthquake and a potential tsunami. So just like keep an eye out. We will issue a warning if there's any danger. And you're like, okay, if there's any danger, sure, they'll issue a warning. And then I jumped off a small cliff into a waterfall for a couple times. And while we're over at this waterfall, I get everyone's phone was like simultaneously doing the like emergency sound, and you see everybody at the waterfall looking at their phone, and it's like urgent warning, tsunami incoming, like get to high ground immediately, tsunami arrival will be like 7:30.
So did you just like peel?
Yeah.
Or did you jump again?
No, I only jumped twice, and I had already, I think I had done the second jump by the time the warning came in.
Okay.
But it was like immediately after. We weren't there for that long, and it was crazy. It was like everybody just kind of disappeared from that waterfall really quickly because it was pretty populated. And we don't know that much about Maui. I mean, we'd been there for a week, but we just like looked at the map and my dad started searching for cities with the highest elevation, and we just bailed it to a city on it was like 2,000 feet up above sea level.
Man.
We're like, nothing bad can happen to us here because our resort was at sea level. So it's like, well, we'll just hang out here for the entire rest of the day. And we were high enough we could see like coastlines all over Maui. So it's like, well, we'll just hang out here and watch. If something crazy happens, you'll get a crazy experience, but let's just hope nothing happens, right? And thankfully nothing happened. And at the end of that, we just got to drive home. It was best case scenario, honestly.
Good.
Because
this guy
were
drops
freaking out
in our Slack room. He drops, oh, wow, tsunami warning, and then doesn't come back into Slack for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, wow.
Is he dead?
Yeah, I thought y'all would have seen the news because it was all over the news. But yeah, we were in like a small store, and people were like, line out the door getting stuff, and it was like not like panicked, but definitely like high alert. So yeah, it ultimately ended up being nothing, which was great. Yeah, very odd situation.
All right, well, let's get on to the first piece of news here. Amazon released a VS Code fork. I know this is when I was on vacation, but you jumped on it and released a video, so tell us about it. It's called Kiro.
Yeah, and if you are interested in learning more about Kiro, which I would suggest definitely checking this out, even if you're an AI skeptic, because this one takes things to a different approach. And what makes it really good is the entire premise of Kiro is that it is based on like spec-driven development. So there's a number of really nice features baked into the UI from creating specs, but like when you first open it up, you click generates steering docs, and it creates several different steering docs for your entire project, whether that's the product docs, like what this thing is, the structure of your app docs, and then the tech. And these are just markdown files. You can edit them, whatever, but like it nails it. And it like discovers things about your app that like aren't in a README, and it can like really parse what the app's about really well. So you get your steering docs, there's a UI for adding MCP servers instead of having to just do it. And there's a real way to like actually reference and call specific MCP functions really easily inside of spec, whatever. And then you just create a spec like, all right, let's work on this sticky header. I need a sticky header that does this, blah, blah, blah. And then that creates several files. It creates a requirements file that lists out a detailed document of all the requirements. It creates a design file, which like talks about how it's going to, even like writing code snippets in that design file for how it's going to accomplish this. And then it generates a task list. And these are all markdown files so they can be committed to your repo. And then there's a UI for clicking go and completing these tasks. It pops up a chat window in case you need to go back and forth. But ultimately what it does is it leads to this way more structured way of working that is deeply integrated with the editor. So you're not creating these files. You're not having to create your own framework for these files or follow some sort of, makeshift version of this. This is deeply integrated into the editor. And for me, it takes longer to do everything, but I have to go back and forth with it like significantly less. The chances of this thing getting it right the first time are way higher because as it's creating these requirements, designs, and task lists, you are modifying them. You are making sure that it's exactly what you want. If it throws in a word there or something like that you're not like into or whatever, you can go and change all this, just tweak the markdown and then run this stuff. And it just works. I found it to be
So you're saying
excellent.
the generation is much slower, right?
The generation is slower because it's over engineer mode, people call it, because it is. It's like, let me create this really long document before I even start working on the code. And then it uses that document along with your steering documents, along with your task list and the requirements, and it starts doing all this stuff. And then it might pull in an MCP server to check the docs, and it's doing a lot. It's reading a lot. It's thinking a lot before getting into the code. So there are times when you're like, okay, this could have been much faster, popping open an agent or whatever. But the fact that it's so structured leads it to be, in my experience, less time overall because
it's like a better
it's getting
output.
it right.
Yeah. I also know Amazon has Bedrock, which is their way to access AI models through Amazon. And like a lot of companies will only allow you to access models through Bedrock because that's how they pay for them and that's their security gateway and all that type of stuff. So I have heard that approach is slower than going straight to OpenAI or straight to Anthropic's APIs.
Yeah, this is using Anthropic, but I don't know how it's getting there. There is also something called agent hooks, which it's like a whole hook interface for setting up listening for events and then running agent tasks on those events. So like in my demo, I set up one that was like whenever a script is added to the package.json file, add it with a description of what it is to my README. And it just goes off and does it, updates the README. So that way your scripts and your README are always in sync and stuff like that. I mean, you could do an endless amount of this. Whenever a file, whenever a Svelte component is updated, update the, the test file or update the playwright file or any of that stuff, right? So there's a lot of like interesting hook-based things you can do with this as well. Overall, great UI. It's got rounded corners, looks nice, and everything about it. It's been my default editor since I first started using it, and I'm a big fan. If you want to learn more, I do a deep dive on our YouTube channel. I will make that link available.
Next piece of news we have here is that Node 22.18 has dropped the flag for using TypeScript. So previously, maybe about 6 months ago, Node released the ability to run TypeScript files directly inside of Node without needing a third-party tool or a compile step or anything. And the way that works is it simply just strips all of the types out of your TypeScript and leaves you with JavaScript at the end of the day. And that's awesome because you don't have to use TSX or Node.ts or any of these things. And they have been running it. Now they've dropped the flag for it, which means that as of Node 22.18, or that's their LTS version. I probably like Node 24. You can now just simply use TypeScript inside of Node.js, which is fantastic. Like just one of those last things that it is. There's a couple gotchas with this, is that it's simply just type stripping, so you cannot use it if you're using enums or things that require a compile step. Probably the biggest gotcha for me is no TSX, which is like JSX inside of TypeScript. So if you still need that on your server, you're probably still going to be running something either like a different runtime that supports it, like Bun or Dino, or an additional runtime thing like TSX, which is very confusing. So TSX, which is like the JSX templating, and then there's also TSX, which is TypeScript execute, which is
those are different things. Yeah,
those are different things. But I use TSX so that I can have TSX support. Understood?
I thought React was just JavaScript, folks. I thought it was just JavaScript. Now the normal JavaScript stuff don't work. You got to use.
Yes. Well, so what I'm curious about is, will this mean that people will now ship TypeScript to NPM?
Hopefully.
A lot of people still have like a compile step before they publish an NPM module. But like, are we going to eventually get to the spot where you don't need to compile before you publish to NPM? That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think it's hopeful that that's anytime soon, considering, there's a billion people not using Node 22.18. But yes, I would love. That's like one of my least favorite things about working on packages, is having to manipulate those packages before you're pushing them. So,
speaking of Node and React or JSX, is React Router, the artist formerly known as Remix, I guess, is now supporting React server components. So I guess it's still in beta, but finally they have released what it will look like. Has support for both Parcel and Vite, which is really interesting to me because we did a show maybe 6 months ago on like where are we at with React server components, and the answer to a lot of that was we're just waiting on bundler support for these things. And now that both Parcel and Vite have first party ways to attack React server components, now we're starting to see it pop up in a lot of other frameworks, and React Router has rolled that out, which is pretty exciting. I know that good chunk of the web runs on React Router. A good, like I would say, I wouldn't say a majority, but a large portion of React sites also run React Router. And now that this is built in, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, when I was writing React, I preferred React Router, as many people did. Also, Windsurf was bought and then not bought, and then the CEO of Windsurf went to, where did he go, to Google? It was like, it was going to be purchased by OpenAI. Then out of nowhere, that purchase got called off and the CEO bailed to Google. And I don't know the details, but that whole thing seems kind of chicken shit to me, to do that to your team. And then Cognition, who is the creators of Devon, later purchased Windsurf and actually purchased it, employing the entire team. The thing that surprised me most about this was that Devon is profitable. I don't even know if they're profitable, but they're valuable enough to have purchased Windsurf. I had no idea Devon was a thing.
Windsurf had $250 million in funding, and then another startup was able to buy them. And like you said, there was a lot of like, oh no, this wasn't an acqui-hire and whatnot. But I don't know. I was pretty bullish on Windsurf, and maybe I still am. But yeah, it says Google is paying $2.4 billion in license fees as part of the deal to use some of Windsurf's technology under non-exclusive terms. According to the person familiar with the arrangement, Google will not take a stake or any control and interest in Windsurf, the person added.
And if you want to see all of the errors in your application, you'll want to check out Sentry at sentry.io/syntax. You don't want a production application out there that, well, you have no visibility into in case something is blowing up and you might not even know it. So head on over to sentry.io/syntax. Again, we've been using this tool for a long time and it totally rules. All right. Another one I have here is this is brand new. This one actually was brought to me by the algorithm on YouTube, and it's so funny because the video had a ton of views on it, and most of the comments were like, "Bless the algorithm. I would have never found this if it wasn't for the algorithm," which I don't understand how that kind of thing happens. But it's got 260,000 views now. Is the release of Copyparty. It's a file server. Unfortunately, well, with many of these things, the design is terrible on it. It is funny where somebody said this is clearly designed by a back-end engineer, and there's other users are being like, "What are you talking about? This looks great." And I assure you, folks, if any of you fine web people open up this demo or whatever, you're going to be like, ugh. And it's okay because it's very functional software and they're working on a redesign for it. And
what is it though? Tell me what it is.
I said it's a file server.
What it does.
I said it's a file server.
What is a file server? I understand what it is, but tell us why this is so awesome.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Keep delaying here and I'll point you to a YouTube video that you can watch that explains everything. But it's an extremely fast open source file server that you can throw up on anything. It shows the guy running on literally anything. It is a single Python file, so it is not difficult to get up and running. You don't need you don't even need a database. And this thing has a billion features from one being very quick to navigate through your files. You give it full permissions. It can host files. You might use it in place of something like Google Drive without the syncing functionality or those types of things. You might throw it up on your NAS. You might throw it up on your server and have a full file system access to watch videos, watch audio, be able to even EQ. It has a full-on music player within it. It gives an RSS feed of all of your files.
And it implements all protocols, HTTP, FTP, WebDAV, SMB.
Does full thumbnail view, zip downloading, easy uploading. Like I said, share files, battery name, recent media player stuff. You can modify files like text files directly inside of it. So if you're on your server, you just want to modify a markdown file or whatever, it's quick and easy for that. Like I said, it is like one Python file that you just run from anywhere. You can throw a Cloudflare tunnel on it. Next thing you know, you have your own cloud file server. There's an endless amount of features in this, and the video is hilarious because he just goes on you can do this, you can do this, you can run it on a Nintendo DS, you can run it on a 1991 Windows computer, and at the end of the whole thing, he's like, and I wrote most of it in a single file from my phone, and you're just like, what kind of wizard does this?
What?
It is incredible. And that's why I highly recommend watching this introduction video because it is super fun to watch. And I've got this thing hosted already myself, and I've already started working on a theme for it. I actually thought it would be really interesting if we tried to make our own, even theming one page of it, because theming the whole thing would be a whole project. But let's all see if we can make a file browser look nice. It might be, that'd be a day commitment. If you want to do that, Wes, I'm down to do it. It's going to be all overriding CSS with IDs and kind of gnarly HTML, but
maybe that doesn't sound like a fun idea.
I started working on mine. I got it to look pretty nice compared to what it looks like. And I'm not throwing shade at the creator. The creator is incredible. He is getting a designer to do some design work on this thing, but I joined their Discord. I'm in it. I'm having a good time with this thing. You can turn on all kinds of features with flags. It plays any type of video file you want, apparently. So, if I'm putting this on my NAS, which I'm going to, and then I'm going to use it for people to share files, because oftentimes I need to share files, and I don't want to do it through Synology's own crappy software. And I've been looking for something just like this, and I was like, oh, Nextcloud. I'm going to have to set up the whole Nextcloud thing, and it's a whole thing, and they have paid products or whatever. This knocks out a ton of that for me, only at the cost of it looking like it's from 1990. And I can fix that. I can fix that. I'm a CSS wizard, y'all. So, yeah, shout out to Copyparty from 9001. And again, watch this video. You'll be impressed. It's very cool.
You know what I should use this with is I use this app called Dropshare. I've been trying to like wean myself off of Cloud App, or they renamed it to something stupid. I forget what it is, but everyone's like, you should use Dropshare. And what it will do is you can take a screenshot or upload a file or whatever, and then just drag and drop it into Dropshare, and then it will give you a little URL. And then you actually own those files, right? They live on your own system. And right now I've been using it with Backblaze as a spot to put it, but I should really just be throwing these files on my own server and then just throw like a Cloudflare cache in front of it, so that if one of my URLs does get popular, it doesn't matter for bandwidth or whatever, because it's not going to be served off of my NAS directly.
The person who created this is a straight up wizard. You can install it through here, or install it on Arc, or Nix, or Android. You can install it on Synology. Here's full instructions on Synology. Or if you use UV or Mac OS, if your OS is dead, here's a bootable flash drive or a CD-ROM. If you don't trust the company, if you don't trust Copyparty, try Prison Party or Bubble Party, which are just like wrapped versions of this thing that are like contained, or use a Docker image. It is like, I don't understand the amount of energy this would have taken to do all of this. And it's not a product. It's not a paid product. This is like straight up open source wizardry right here.
Who cares so much about file system?
It is unbelievable. And it's very fast, apparently. Yeah.
I wonder how many people are going to throw this on a server, forget about it, and accidentally leave their entire server wide open.
It's going to expose that to the internet first.
Yeah. Remember back in the days when you could just search for like index of, and you would find like people's like PHP file listings? That is almost all but gone. Every now and then you still stumble upon like a WordPress server that will show you the contents of like an uploads folder. But
I have something to admit. We did some family photos with a photographer, and you know how they don't give you all the photos, or like the unedited photos, or they give you proofs or whatever. Yeah. I did find their unprotected uploads folder, and I did download all the dang photos. We still paid them for quite a bit of photos. It wasn't like we're shortchanging, but oftentimes it's like they don't want to give you the originals because they're like, we edited these, we don't want to do that. Yeah. And like, I get it. But at the same time, like, I know what I'm doing. I'm so being able to find that downloads folder or uploads folder and be like, yoink.
Yoink, give me the ball. I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Oh, on the flip side, my sister's a wedding photographer, and she has like family photos and whatnot. And on the flip side, just the amount of people that just screenshot instead of downloading it from the service, kills me. You know, like every time I see somebody screenshot something instead of like saving it, and often they will screenshot their photos. Like they'll find the photo like 8 years ago in their like Photos app, and then they'll screenshot that, and then they'll share the screenshot. It's like, you have the photo on your phone. You don't need to screenshot it in order to share it. And that's partly a UX issue, is that like these people obviously can't find the photo, and it's like, now I have to go to this different app and upload it, and now I can't find it. That is 8 years ago. But that always just drives me nuts. And they don't even crop it. You know, you can see what time it is.
To be clear here, folks, I don't want people coming for me on this one. We purchased what we were able to purchase. Like there was no option for me to give this photographer money for these photos. So
I'm sure
I
they
just
would
wanted
take
to have the original.
You're a bad person, Scott. No, I'm just joking. Some good news. Vite has officially overtaken Webpack in the NPM installs, which is wild, and it's about time. Vite now has 32, in the last week it had 32 million downloads, and Webpack having 32, but about 500,000 less. I wonder how much of that is due to these AI things like Bolt, and probably not V0 actually, but Bolt, Lovable, all these things like the React. Have you looked at the React installs over the past like year or so? It's just Let's go to NPM trends. Like take a look at React downloads over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
That's a big turn right there.
February 2025. Like this,
it's that people just start
AI
typing into AI,
generation.
make me an app, and then it's like, of course you need React, of course you need this and that. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
See, Vite went right up. Anytime you make anything new with AI, it defaults to using Vite and React and Tailwind for everything. I wonder, actually, we should look at what Tailwind looks like on here.
Probably similar. I have to like actively persuade it not to use Tailwind. It's like, I did not ask for this. I don't have it installed, and like, there's nothing in my thing that says to use this. And it's like, first we're going to start by installing Tailwind. I'm like, bro, if I wanted to use it, I would have told you.
What the hell happened last week? It's always interesting to see the Christmas dips.
Yeah, the micro trends. Yeah.
Yeah. But also like
Christmas dip sounds like a nice kind of like cookie. Next one, Rolldown Vite. You can use Rolldown Vite. This is not super new. It was announced May 29th that you could use Rolldown Vite. But just recently in their Vite 7 announcement, you can just use this by, in your dependencies, replacing the normal Vite dependency with Vite npm :rolldown -Vite at latest. So you can just swap out Vite for Rolldown Vite and it should all just work. Now, Rolldown Vite is a next generation Rust-based bundler. It's modernizing Vite's core. Alongside Rolldown, there's OXC, which is like a parser, a transformer, a resolver, a minifier, as well as a linter and a formatter soon. So like, people have reported seeing massive increase, 100x process increase on Vite, especially the build process, right? So in the past, Vite used, Rollup for their building process of everything.
Yeah.
And Rollup is great. It has been a mainstay of the web ecosystem for a long time. But with Rolldown, it's like, what if we rewrote this in Rust and focused on making it very fast? And people are seeing 100 times improvement on their build speeds using Vite. And it seems like it is a smooth transition for most people. They talk about how many apps they've tried this on and the success rate. And even SvelteKit, supposedly, all you got to do is change this and it should just work. So I've not given Rolldown Vite a try. I just haven't had the time yet. But I'm interested in just throwing this on here and seeing if it just works. Because who wouldn't love 100 times improvement in their build times? I'm sure every single Next.js user would like that.
We did talk about this real quick when CJ and I did a news show as well. And we were just saying like how quickly this came out. Because it feels like, I don't know, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we were just talking about it being worked on. And now you can just roll it out and it covers almost all of our use cases, which is really exciting. Claude Code kind of nuked its $200 a month plan. So Claude Code had this like max plan, which was $200 a month, and you could use it as much as you could possibly want. And of course, a lot of people went ahead and ran it as much as they possibly could. So I was talking to Zach Jackson on Twitter about this, and he was running 4 agents almost 24/7, just kicking off multiple agents. And he was using like $5,000 worth of infrastructure every single day. It turns out lots of people were running these things on Libs. Just simply finding stuff enough to run 4 different things continuously at all times is quite amazing. I'll link up the Twitter thread saying the stuff that he did. He says he ported all of his TSLint to Go and all of its rules. So he tried to port TSLint to Go, compiling a Linux kernel to WASM for the browser, fixing GitHub issues, because that one's a bit sane, some experiments in RSPack. So he's the developer behind RSPack, splitting up 100,000 lines of code into smaller parts for testing, writing docs on architecture specs, decompiling 10 megs of Minify.js. That's a really interesting one, because when you have a huge JavaScript minified bundle and you want to decompile that, you can't just give it 10,000. You can't just give it 9 megs of JavaScript and tell it to decompile it. But if you were to or maybe break it into parts, or maybe run it through like an AST first and then loop through that. And maybe that would be a bit easier. But anyways, a lot of people were abusing it or using it too much, maybe not abusing it. And they've since stopped that, and they now have $100 a month plan, but then you have to pay for additional usage, which I think is going to be the future of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, you can have your $10, $20 a month thing, and most people will fall within that, and that's going to be totally fine. But as soon as you're using this like as if it were server bandwidth or infrastructure, unfortunately you're going to be paying by usage. And it's no different than bandwidth. It's no different than if you're using like servers that need to spin up. If you use more, you're going to have to pay more. But it was fun while it lasted.
If you want to go psycho mode, you got to pay by the hit for sure.
Yeah.
And that makes total sense given the nature of all this stuff. And a couple of really incredible Svelte updates dropped. Svelte itself released asynchronous Svelte. You can turn it on just by a small little setting and experimental async. It's out. You can use it. You can use it in the latest version. Just dropped, I believe, in a minor version of Svelte. You can just toggle it on in the experimental features. And for all intents and purposes, it is like what? It's like React. What's a React suspense, or what is the React async?
Yeah, React suspense is the thing where one of your components or many of your components down the tree can perform asynchronous work, and your higher level components can suspend themselves, meaning you can show like a loader at a higher level. You know when one of your children is doing work. And if you would like to, you can then wait for that work to be finished before you display things, before you send the response from the server to the client. It's several things.
Yeah. And in this async Svelte, it basically just allows you to await stuff all over Svelte, giving you that option to resolve promises pretty much anywhere in your application. You want to preload stuff, all kinds of things. It is like everything you'd want from this type of API without a whole bunch of jargon, using just straight up Svelte stuff. It looks great. I haven't gotten my hands dirty on it. I just have not had time. There's too much new stuff. I've been going to town on new stuff. And there's another thing that was also released. The RPC for Svelte has been released. So Wes's biggest complaint about Svelte is that you had to load data at page boundaries or route boundaries. Essentially, you're loading in a load function at the top of the route. Now,
or if you want to run a function as well, like you have a button
server function.
Like let's say you have like a card that displays an item, and you want to delete that item. The remote function to delete that on the server, you have to then load that in at a page level, even though it's part of the card. Why does the function have to care what page it's on?
Yeah. Now we have access to what are .remote files, which allow you to run server-side things. And if you're using a remote file, then Svelte knows that needs to run on the server. But you can import inside of your Svelte components from remote files and run that on the client. So it looks like just like it's RPC system. You're calling functions like get posts directly from the component, and behind the scenes that's going off to the server and doing it. But you can do that anywhere within your application. And same thing with mutations. You can run mutations. There's a whole form version of this, so it's like how you're doing forms in Svelte. So basically it's taking the SvelteKit way of doing everything at route boundaries and moving it to just be like, all right, you just throw these in remote files. And I gotta say, this is the thing I'm most excited about, because we're rewriting the syntax site very slowly, mind you, but I gotta feel like there's parts of this I really want to implement this on and give this a try, but at the same time, I need to get to darn work on the other aspects of this thing, so I cannot get distracted, but I really want to just start picking this up. Sadly, since I've been doing so much local first stuff inside of Svelte, the opportunities for me to use this are pretty few in between right now, but it looks awesome. So shout out to the Svelte team for shipping 2 monstrous new APIs that really like change the game for Svelte.
I also wonder what this will look like for people who ship like third-party Svelte components, because like one of the cool thing about React Server components is you can now include what the server logic looks like, what the client side logic and interaction looks like, and you can include the styles and the templating. You can all include it in a single, or not a single component, but you can include it in multiple components, which you can then ship as a single package. And now that means that we should be able to do this in Svelte land as well. Somebody could have a Svelte package to do something, to hook up with like GitHub or something, and as long as you give it your API key, it could then deliver you both the client side interaction and the server logic.
Yeah, I can't see why not. I that said, if that's not possible, let me know, y'all, because I haven't got my hands dirty with this and to a point where I can fully dissect it. But that seems like it would make sense to me. I'm very excited for this, because this is one of my biggest annoyances too. It's like I gotta go up the file tree now at the root of the route. And
Trae Solo. We haven't talked too much about Trae. It's Trae. This is the like VS Code fork from like TikTok or ByteDance. They're like every large company. We talked about Amazon's earlier today. They have their own, and I've been like kind of keeping an eye on what they're doing. And they released their agent mode a while ago, and they just released this thing called Trae Solo, which
good name.
Seems like, it seems like a name that it just encompasses a lot of, like, obviously there's agents as a big part of it, documentation, structured outputs, searching the web for specific things. So what they're calling Solo is basically a bit more of an autonomous agent where you can still then check in on it. You can give it a very large task and let it rip, and then you can kind of dip in and check in on it via the VS Code fork, which is called Trae. So I haven't used it too much. I have to turn a VPN on every time I use Trae because it's not available in Canada. So I have to dip into it every now and then via VPN. But I'm always keeping my eyes peeled with like, what are these other companies doing? And that's why I was so interested in the Amazon one as well.
Yeah. Kiro for me has been really, and no offense to the Trae folks, but for some reason I trust the Amazon folks a bit more, given that they have built AWS, Yeah. But no, I haven't seen this before, so I'll definitely give this a look.
Yeah. ByteDance is an absolutely massive company. The reason,
it's ByteDance. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah. I missed when you said that. Yeah.
Oh,
never
okay.
mind.
I thought you
Take
were
back everything
I
said.
Quietly trying to say something about Chinese companies.
No. I think ByteDance is putting out links, which is like the coolest shit in the world.
Yes,
right now,
yeah. So. ByteDance is cranking out all kinds of
I
cool
missed
stuff.
when you said that.
There will be a lot of comments below being like, I will never trust my code with a
people will say the
Chinese
same thing
company.
about Amazon, though.
Yeah. So, which I think all of those things you should not brush off, because certainly I would be a little, even remember like back with Kite. Do you remember Kite? This was before GitHub Copilot. There was this thing called
the words Kite.
It was the like AI completions for your code. And I remember, I think I did a video on it, or we talked about it, and every single person was like, no way I'm letting some company have access to my code. And then here we are now being like, hell yeah, whoever wants my code, just generate as much as possible.
Who wants my whole file system? Let's just run,
yes,
willy-nilly. I know, no kidding.
Put that app on that you were talking about earlier and give them full file system access.
Yeah, speaking of, Perplexity's Comet was released. I love Comet. I've been using Comet full time. It is my browser. It is
really
my favorite browser, and it is incredible. It does, so I was
Dia?
big up.
You were talking about Dia like 2 days ago.
Dia, more like DOA. Comparatively, sorry, Dia folks. I actually do like Dia, but don't hate me for that one, because we would love to have the Dia folks on the show. But Dia, I think, is a really great browser for a number of reasons, and it definitely changed the game for about a week, because Dia allowed you to interact and summarize pages and really like work with data coming into you, right? If I want to learn things, Dia is a great thing. Compare things, yes. But if I want to interact with the browser window in AI, Dia doesn't do any of that. Or if I wanted to, let's say, ask Dia to look at our YouTube analytics and like gain some insight from our YouTube, Dia would be like, that's behind a login. I can't touch that. Besides the fact that I'm looking at it, right?
It's Southern too. I can't touch that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I wasn't making fun of Southern folks there.
It's the browser company of Alabama. I don't know why I gave it that voice.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to be demeaning here.
No, it's not demeaning at all. It's funny. Keep going.
Okay. Well, some people you don't know. Dia is really good for summarizing stuff and whatever. Perplexity's Comet browser is another level. I asked Comet to analyze my last grocery orders on our grocery delivery site, analyze my last grocery orders, and add the 50 most purchased things to my cart. It did it. First try. I asked Comet to research the best electric toothbrush for me. It went off to 15 different blogs. It then went off to 10 different e-commerce sites and read reviews and ratings. And then it found it on Amazon and added it to my cart. It just did, first shot. And like those are just like things that I was trying to throw at it. They're examples in their own little window. The agentic browser thing is going to change people's browser usage. What is here's some of the things that it says. Find all of the YouTube videos I haven't finished watching. Find important unanswered emails. Play the exact time code Neil Armstrong says one small step on YouTube. It's just like, man, this is just a small fraction of what Comet is capable of. If I have invites available, I've asked the Comet team for more invites because I used my 2 invites on Wes Boss and my old boss, Ben Schaff. If I get more invites from Comet, drop a comment in this video, and if I have one, I will hook you up, or I'll start posting them, because hopefully I can get some of those by the time this video is dropped. This browser, to me, really changes the game for AI in the browser being just like a parlor trick of like, ooh, it can summarize a YouTube video, to being like, go off and do stuff for me. Go buy a bunch of shit with my credit card. I'm not doing that, folks, but I'm sure it probably could. I don't know where it's the powers end, but it is very impressive.
That's great. I love the Comet landing page because I love a textured gradient, or what do you call that?
Yeah, like the texture. Yeah, the noisy
gradient is one of my favorite things.
I just like noise in general.
These planets you can just toss around. Big fan.
Yeah. One thing I do like about Comet too is in the Comet Assistant stuff, they're giving you a lot of ideas of what you can do with the assistant in the browser. So it's not just like, what can your imagination do? It's like, man, you can control the browser itself, like close all duplicate tabs. Like you can control the browser, you can control individual web pages, you can read information, where like Dia is much more of a like, read the web for me, browse the web for me, but not like do things on the web for me. And that to me is such a huge, massive shift in how we're going to be using browsers.
Awesome. All right. I think that's all the news we have today. Send us your news. If you've got one, send us a tweet or a skeet or a DM or whatever, and we'll cover it on. We'll try to do these every month and a half or so, trying to catch everybody up with what's going on. Should we head into some sick picks?
Yes, we should head into some sick picks.
I have a very good sick pick for you today, and this is a pressure washer gun that has a swivel attachment on it. So
is it a like a big ass full pressure washer?
Well, it's not a pressure washer. I have a pressure washer, but my pressure washer gun, like the big part that you hold and you squeeze the trigger. Normally when you get them, you get these like really long things on them. And the worst part about a pressure washer is that the cord gets tangled and you can't straighten it out. So this pressure washer has a swivel on it so that when you pull it, it will automatically unspin
that
the
sounds great.
pressure washer thing. And it's so good. And then it's also like short instead of having a long nozzle on it, which is good for if you're doing like a driveway or something like that. But if you're just washing the car or doing some up close, it's just really nice and short. It's called the Mech-O pressure washer gun, and it was like $30 Canadian, probably like $20 US. It comes with all of the tips, which is great 'cause I lose those every now and then. And it just like was such an upgrade. Mine was like leaking or whatever. I was like, I need a new version of this. But like, I hate pressure washers because they tangle and they're so annoying. In general, you have to connect the water and the pressure washer gun. And if it's electric, you also have to connect the plug it into the wall. And like, that stuff is so annoying.
I never know which attachment to use for what. So I need to get better at that. You know what I would like? This would be fun. A little like fake minigun for a pressure washer, like in Predator, and just hold this like giant. Like a turret.
I feel like I saw a TikTok of like a car detailer, and he had like 8 or 9 different like they look like big zapper guns.
Yeah,
and they were actually pressure washer. You could probably 3D print something like that.
Yeah, something just goofy. That'd be funny. I want to pretend like I'm the guy in Predator trying to shoot the Predator. I'm going to sick pick something I've sick picked before, but I just reordered. So it's like, all right, we will sick pick this again. This is theblackstuff.com. They make natural soaps and natural deodorants. A lot of deodorants have like heavy metals and stuff in them. I don't want to be the smelly guy. So like a lot of natural deodorants are bad because you're still the smelly guy. This stuff has been very effective. I've used it for, this is by the way, not an ad. I don't pay me for anything. I've used it for over a year, and I only bought like they're not like the cheapest deodorant. It's like what, $14 for a stick of deodorant, but I've used these for very long, and I'm just now killing 2 of them. Like I used them for a whole year pretty much. They just last forever because there's a lot there, and it's all natural. It's like a small time operation. I don't know how many people are behind this, but it's not some like massive corporation. You feel good buying stuff from a small group of people making soaps and deodorants, but at the same time they got a lot of variety. They're always coming out with new stuff, and I like them a lot.
Branding is on point too. It's almost has a bit of like a developer feel to it.
I'll tell you what, when I bought this from this last year, they did not have a brand that looked like this. It looked very like a homegrown operation. So they must have gotten a bunch of people talking about them or stuff. But their scents are great. And they, like I said, a lot of it's like just essential oils in here. The ingredient list is super short. So it's not like you're adding a whole bunch of garbage. And again, like it's been effective. So shout out to the Black Stuff.
Smells good too.
Oh yeah, they got anything you want. It smells great.
You know what I want to do, and this is an audience if people know if this is good for you or not. So you can buy these like essential oil distributors that you plug into your home's HVAC. You know, you go into like a hotel or into like Abercrombie, and it's just like, oh man, it smells good in here. I want that for my house because when we bought our house, the person before us had used these like Glade plugins, and the house smelled amazing. And I was like, those are not good for you to breathe all the time. So we don't use those. But like, I also want my house to smell like a hotel. So I want to know, like, if anyone's listening and knows this, like, is it good to breathe that in, that like essential oils put through your HVAC and your whole house smells like a hotel? Is that good for you? Probably not, but I want it to be.
Well, I mean, I've done essential oils and diffuser. I mean, maybe it's like a 24/7 thing versus like a short time thing. Honestly, I have no idea.
We used to do the like diffuser thing, you know, like
we got diffusers. Like we got those.
Those always smell good. But yeah, I want it to smell like an Abercrombie in my house.
You know what I do for that? Let me see. I'll show you something. I got this at Target, which is, let me get my finger in focus. Lavender and eucalyptus room spray from Target. And I spray this. It's essential oils. The ingredients list is short. I spray this on my sound panels in my office because they're like fabric with absorption in it. And so it sticks around for a little bit longer.
I think you showed that to me because I was there. I was like, it smells good in here.
Oh, yeah. I'm just spritzing it around a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just go in
good.
Courtney's car and spritz it around in her car without her knowing it, just so her car smells a little bit nicer.
I bought one once.
Pro husband move.
Chemical Guys donut spray, and it smells so good to spray your car, but it doesn't stick around. I need something that lingers.
This one doesn't stick around that long either. Yeah.
No?
I know. I get what you're saying about the HVAC thing. That'd be dope.
Yeah, just constant. All right, that's my new research thing. I'll stay tuned for a couple months, folks. Maybe I'll be there.
We got an HVAC essential oil report coming in. I can't wait.
All right. Thanks, everybody, so much for tuning in. Make sure you check us out on all of your podcast platforms and youtube.com/syntaxfm. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all the good stuff. And we
don't just like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. We would love
What else do you have to do?
We would love it.
We would love it.
If you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. We produce extremely high quality videos all the time. If you want to see us or see what we're talking about, we post code sometimes. CJ does deep dives. We've been doing really excellent challenges and quizzes and just fun stuff. We made CAPTCHAs that were infuriating, and it was a ton of fun. And there's some really good outcomes from that CAPTCHA competition. So just check that stuff out, because, folks, it was very, very funny, and I've been having a great time doing it. And also, I dropped a good video on Kiro Code, like we talked about in this video. So we would love it if you would hit subscribe on that YouTube channel for us. Thank you.
All right. Catch you later. Peace.